Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kishore Subramanian. I was born and brought up in Kolkata. Currently, I reside in Chennai. I run a few companies with a few hundred employees. I'm a financial consultant by profession. This evening, I'm going to share a few stories with you, a few anecdotes with you, and then later connect the dots and tell you what creating with intent means to me and probably to all of us. Let me begin. As a financial consultant, I often end up speaking to many people, diverse group of people, age, caste, race, creed, socio-economic background. As a financial consultant, whenever I speak with these diverse group, I often start with a small story. And I'm going to narrate the same story to you, and this will be followed by a very small question. For paucity of time, I will answer what responses I get, and here I go. It's an extremely small, brief story. The story goes like this. My name is Kishore Subramanian. I'm 47 years old. I have my wife and kid, and my parents live with me. End of story. I shall just repeat it for you so that you understand it. It was pretty simple. I'm 47 years old. My name is Kishore Subramanian. I have my wife and kid, and my parents live with me. The question that I follow with is, what did you understand? Most people, wherever I have posed this question, have answered back saying, you are a nuclear family, you belong to the Indian culture, you take care of your parents, etc., etc. But let me repeat it for the third time for the audience, and I'll tell you what the message and what the intended answer or response should have been. I'm 47 years old, my name is Kishore Subramanian. I have my wife and kid. My parents live with me. In the last 47 years, from the day I was born, I have been living with my parents. But subtly, somewhere in the last 10, 20, 25 years, I don't know when, the scene has not changed, but the dialogue has. This is what money can do to an individual. And from that day, I have never used the word that my parents live with me, but I live with my parents. Fast forward 2020. Before that, I will play an audio for you. You can listen to that. Audio, please.
चौदहवीं का चांद हो या आफताब हो, जो भी हो तुम खुदा की कसम लाजवाब हो। चौदहवीं का चांद हो या आफताब हो, जो भी हो तुम खुदा।
Okay, I'm cutting this short. Many a times when I have played this audio and asked, most people this is a beautiful rendition of Rafi Sahab, and many people have thought this is a non-studio recording of Rafi Sahab. But let me tell you, this song, this rendition, this particular recording is of my brother Ramesh Subramanian. Fast forward 2020, this is a news, COVID wave 1. Finance expert come bhajan singer raises funds for lockdown hit artist. We are all aware what happened in COVID wave 1, where there was no money available, no businesses, organizations shut shop. As a world famous bhajan singer, he had put in down his efforts in raising funds for many artists who couldn't have earned their livelihood on a day-to-day basis. Fast forward 2021. April 8th, 11:30 in the morning, my brother gets a call from his HR, a 5-minute Zoom call, just a 5-minute Zoom call, which says, your job is retrenched. The company is cutting its cost, and therefore your job is retrenched. Call ends. As an employee, whether it's my brother or anybody, you can't fight the system much, because if you start a battle at that point of time, you cannot get another job because your relieving order is at stake. Fast forward another 41 days. May 25th at 3:30, I'm in my office and I get a call from my mother. A panic-stricken 48-year-old man on the other end says, my saturation has dropped to 85. I was numb. I was stunned for the 10 seconds, but I quickly got back to my senses since I had a lot of doctor clients. And you know, this was COVID wave 2, where there were no hospital beds available across the country. And Chennai being the mecca of medical healthcare system, there was absolutely no beds. Through my contacts, luckily, within the next 1 hour, I could reach his house, pick him up, and get him a bed in a hospital. And as I drop him on the bed and move away, he asks me a question. I don't have a job. How do I pay my bill? And there I trash the question very quickly and say, I'm there to take care, don't worry. And I leave the hospital. That night I get a call from the doctors saying that he's doing well, he's recovering. And the next day morning, I get a reassurance call that he's progressing well, his oxygen is normal, and he's doing well. Relieved, I go to my office. Evening 6:30, things change for the worse. His oxygen level drops again. He's on a higher dosage of oxygen and begins this fight and this journey with COVID. Now this battle, remember, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the toughest battles because it was COVID. The person is not able to breathe, so there's no way you can communicate with him irrespective of whether he has a mobile or not. You're not allowed inside the hospital. Near and dear, friends, family, nobody can enter. And you're just waiting for that one piece of information, probably once or twice a day, to know how your family is, how your brother is. Every single day, morning and evening, that one call my family used to wait for. Things worsened. Things became bad. Things went from bad to worse. On June 4th, after about 9 or 10 days, he was put on a ventilator. We prayed. He fought hard. Fast forward June 11th at 4:53 a.m. I get a news from the hospital. Mr. Ramesh lost his life to COVID. A battle that he lost. I'm controlling my tears as I speak. But he lost a 48-year-old man with no comorbidity, lost his life like a million others who lost his life. 1 week later, the third battle begins. As he was retrenched from his job and he was not allowed to serve his notice period of 60 days, he or his family could not claim the life insurance and the medical insurance and the Provident Fund insurance worth a few crores. The third battle begins and it goes on. I'm going to share one more story now with you. As I told you, I'm going to tell a lot of stories. One morning in 2014, as I sip my coffee and go through the papers, I read a small news article of a young man in Chennai, settled in America, calls his mother and says, sell the properties out in India and come over with me. We shall settle in America. After relentless persuasion, the article said, he could convince his mother. The mother ended up selling. The guy comes to pick the mother up, picks her up, sells the property, transfers the money account into whichever bank account he wanted, takes her to the airport, and in the chaos and the commotion at that point of time, the mother misses the son. After a frantic search for 35 to 45 minutes, this old lady goes up to whoever is the officer, police officer, who was there, and says, my son is missing. They end up searching for 40 minutes. The officers in the airport could not even tell the news to the mother that the son had left and gone away. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these are truthful stories which I am telling you and not fictional ones. I've been very serious for the last 10, 11, 12 minutes, but let me surely add a humorous story. I'm a financial consultant by profession. I always deliver lectures on money, financial management, life, and so many things. And many customers ask me many questions of different nature. But one of these questions that was asked by one of the customers really stuck with me a lot. He asked me a very funny question. He asked me, Kishore, tell me one thing. I've invested money in stocks, mutual fund, wherever. What happens to the stock market if there is a world war? Mind you, he asked me this question. And I told him, assuming, sir, there is a world war. Let's say country A is bombing Chennai. Do you think I'm going to pick your call up? Do you really think I'm going to pick your call up and give you your valuations? And if there is a world war going on, and if you're concerned about your mutual fund valuation, I think your values are placed very much wrong. I think that's not the time to think. But why am I narrating these stories? Why am I telling you? This is what money can do. This intricate relationship of money and human being is very, very deep. It can change us. It can change people. It can really swing things. And these are absolutely truthful stuff. World over, statistically, it is said that we spend more than 51% of our waking time in the most active years of our life in an organization. The most productive time between the age 22 to 55, 60 globally. Probably even more, as the next generation is not going to save much. But remember, an organization, by the definition of it, is being created, is always created for profit. Absolutely nothing wrong about that. Absolutely nothing wrong about that. But the point is that profit cannot or should not ideally be the only motive. There are organizations, this country has witnessed to terrorist attacks, and we have seen organizations where people have sacrificed their life on duty where they could have run away. Remember, there are multiple organizations, there are 25 organizations in the world which are bigger than individual countries in terms of mere workforce. I run a few organizations. I'm a very, very small businessman. I have a few hundred employees. My objective in life is whenever and however and in whatever valuation I'm able to exit this company. It can run into a few 100 crores, 50 crores. I don't care about the number, but what I care about is that every single employee who has served me would get a pie out of it. Our time, my time, in this world is very, very limited. Believe you, we came with nothing. I can be as philosophical as you think, but the fact of the matter is that you're not going to carry back anything. As they often say, the first generation earns, the second builds it up, the third squanders. It's very, very important that you give to the people who work for you. Organizations need to have values. We have moved from a system of having organizations which have value to valuations. We have really shifted this. There has to be a paradigm shift where it has to move back from valuations to value. That's where the shift is required. I understand when you're talking about organizations, when you're talking about scales of operations, a few hundred employees, few thousand employees, a few employees, quite possible. When you talk of scales of operation, an organization which has few million employees, I know it's difficult to drill in the value. But remember one thing, if there is an intent to create an organization, a workplace which can deliver value, it will trickle down. Small things do make perfection, but perfection in itself is not a small thing. It takes time, it takes effort, and remember, organizations create economies, economies create nations, nations are the society we live in, and these societies put together is what we called planet Earth. What else are we creating? What else are people for? It's ultimately the people who have built things for you. I sell life insurance, and I often tell people one very, very important thing. You never buy a life insurance because you're scared you're going to die. But you buy a life insurance because you want somebody else to live. And that's very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. As I come to the end of it, I shall end with a quote which I would like to show to you. When your intention is clear, so is the way. Let's make this world a better place to live. For you, for me, and for the entire human race. Thank you.